to Let's Play Gran Turismo 2, episode 41. Alrighty then. So another event is officially complete, and well, now of course, I am going to do my next event, which is officially the final event on page 3. And well, the reason I'm doing that first is, well, because of, well, license specifications, and well, just because I want to. But anyways, so gonna head over to Mazda, and since I have already driven both the first gen RX-7 as well as the third gen, I think it's time for me to head down into using the second gen RX-7. I've already driven the SA and I've also driven the FD, and well, now of course I'm going to use the FC. And also because furthermore, this car actually looks stunning in red, it really does. And that's precisely what I'm going to purchase for the next event. So, now that I've got the machine I want, it's now time for us to do some tuning. To at least probably get myself up to like, probably 250 horses, maybe 260, probably. Okay, can I get a stage 3? Oh, okay. The maximum I can get is stage 3. So well, because I have a feeling this will be probably a challenge, I will probably purchase the other turbo upgrades as well, because I may need them. Because that's probably what I should do. And also, I'm gonna put on the racing intercooler for some additionally good measures. And well, because I have a feeling this thing will probably have trouble with stopping, obviously I'm going to do that as well. And also put on the racing soft tyres, because obviously grip is, at least with the racing slicks, super OP. And so, just for some additional measures, I'll put on the computer chip, and I shall also put on the port grinding. And yeah, I think that's about all I need to do. Just gonna check to see if I've got on the racing upgrade, and indeed I do. Okay, very cool. And just want to be sure of something here, and is there a racing mod? Yes, there is. And it's very much like the racing mod that I had in GT1. I think this was like the same car I used as well, at least I think it was anyway, but just gonna put on stage 1 weight reduction, and then yeah, I think that should do it. Because as far as I know, that should do it. But just to be sure, I'll put on the semi-racing suspension in case I have any deeper troubles, but well, I don't think I will. But meanwhile, let's head to race number 1 of the Grand Touring Car Trophy. So 3 races here, as we are going to Red Rock Valley, Grand Valley and Midfield for our 3 races. And also I've noticed the grand prize also goes up in a pattern by 10 grand as well. 10 grand for the first race, 20 grand for the second, and 30 grand for the third. Very nice. Okay, so take 2 of this race, because even though I did have a comfortable lead, apparent as it might be, rear-wheel drive cars still hate me. And as a result of that, obviously, I just had to spin on the final lap, and ultimately, because I had to fuck myself right at the final corner of the circuit, I'm literally gonna have to try this again. So even though I would have easily won this if I didn't spin, unfortunately it had to be my incompetence that got ahead of what I thought was really going on, and then suddenly, as a result of that, I just pretty much ended up fucking myself on the original attempt I did this. Also furthermore, my engine is screaming very loud. As we have a Mustang in this field along with a 3000 GT, a Camaro and R32, and an R33. Oh, dicks. Okay. Well, I did the same thing I did in the previous attempt. Although, fortunately for me at least, that was only the first lap that I spun this time, and not the last lap, for me at least. And if I did spin on the final lap, then well, I would have been pretty much even more pissed at myself than I am now. Because even though it looks like a relatively easy W, I just suddenly had to spin on the final lap, and that was ultimately what costed me a shot at the W, and also the main reason why I am trying this again. Because rear-wheel drive cars to me are basically just continuing to say to me, no, go fuck yourself. Is basically just what they're saying to me, because I cannot treat them properly. But hopefully this time I will not make the same mistake again. Don't choke, don't choke. No, please don't choke. Okay. I am up into 4th, and still on a recovery drive, unless I spin again, which I could very well do, as a result of my very much amateur incompetence, who's pretty much been the fucking schoolboy that I am, because I just think that's what I am. But anyways, I am up into the lead now, and hopefully from here, if I do not spin the car again, then obviously I will very much consolidate myself towards the W this time, as long as I do not repeat the same mistake I made on the previous attempt. So instead of doing the entry to the corner in 4th, I'm going to do it in 5th, because I figure the higher gears I'm in, the less likely I am to spin, but I could be wrong. But anyways, so attempt number 2, and I'm fairly certain that essentially if I do not spin this time, then well, I've pretty much got this one under control. considering I am already pulling away from these AI. And yeah, also BTW, I think I have an overpowered car for this race, but anyways. It is a W in race 1 on attempt number 2, because it had to be my amateurism that got ahead of me, and I won by nearly 4 seconds over the Camaro. Skyline was 3rd, Mustang 4th, then it was the 3000 GT ahead of the R32, and as for the Skyline GTR, that was the R33. But anyways, so that was race 1, and now of course we are going to head over to race number 2. So, heading over to race number 2 and going to delete a replay obviously. And so, we shall now save the replay. With 2 races to go. Also, because overall, I think this is only the 2nd time I've actually raced at Red Rock Valley. Even though something inside me is probably saying it's the 3rd, but well, yeah. But anyways, let's head over to race number 2 at Gran Valley. Whilst I've noticed my voice is once again starting to die. So I won by nearly 4 seconds in the previous race, or pretty much just over 3.8 seconds, and well, I don't think I'll really have too much trouble with this event if I won the previous event by less than 4 seconds, so I think I'll just stick with what I have, and just hope that if it's possible I can tough it out. But again, I don't know for sure, so, you know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. So, at the start of race number 2, and I am already closing in on these AI, or at least I'm starting to. Since this is only the 2nd time I'm actually racing on the full Grand Valley circuit, which is nice. Up to 5th after the 2nd hairpin, so I'm moving up in this race. And hopefully if it's possible, I shall not make the same mistake that I made at Red Rock. Which is basically just spin on the final lap and then suddenly realise that as soon as I fuck up I've got virtually no chance of winning. But hopefully this event, or at least this race, shall not prove to be the case. But again, if I'm put under pressure, then obviously that is precisely what I'm predicting will happen. But I hope it doesn't. Oh fuck. That skyline is hot on my heels. And he was trying to force me wide. But I'm defending pretty well at the same time. whilst we are both fighting virtually for the lead. We're having pretty good tussle at the moment, as long as I don't get spun around. And already the skyline is running wide, so that's cool. As we are now heading through the first section of the course, heading up to the second hairpin, or heading down to the second hairpin I should say, as I'm already holding on to my lead. And these AI are still running very wide. Meanwhile, up front it is still me and the FC. Nice. And now it looks like the Corvette is trying to take second place away from the skyline. But anyways, so through the third tunnel, as I'm currently eking out an advantage over these AI, even though they probably will close in on me once again down the main street. And well, it looks like, to me at least, this will probably be a relatively easy W if I can just hold on and obviously not make the same mistake that I made at Red Rock, at least on my first attempt. And that was the skyline on the outside there. As of which, I have noticed these AI can definitely tend to go very fucking wide through the first hairpin. They've also been doing the same thing at the second hairpin as well. And I really couldn't explain why, but yeah. These AI can tend to run wide at both of these hairpins, pretty much in this first sector here, at least on the first part of the full course. But anyways, so just holding on to my advantage at the moment. As it looks like I'm probably going to hold on for the W. So heading over the bridge for the third and final time, not doing the same thing that I did at Red Rock, fortunately. So heading up to the final corner of the lap, and it is going to be victory at Gran Valley on my first attempt, as it's taken me just less than 6 minutes and 13 seconds. And BTW, I won that race by just over a second. So the Skyline GTR V-Spec R34 was second in that race, followed by the Skyline GTR, which I assume is probably the R34. There were two of those in this event. The Camaro was fourth, then it was the 3000 GT in fifth, and at the back it was the Corvette Sport. Very cool. 2 races down, 1 to go. As we now win 20 grand from this event. I already have a replay saved. So, 2 races down, 1 to go. That is at midfield. Which means, of course, I'm going to put on the big boys for this event. It is now time for race number 3 of the Grand Touring Car Trophy. Hopefully we can do more or less the same of what we have been doing. We have RUF CTR Yellowbird in this field. At least I think it's the Yellowbird I can see. As I'm already closing in on these AI, and 2 of them have just run wide, at least 2 of the competitors, and I think one of them was probably the Yellowbird, even though it's not in yellow. But anyways, I'm already up into 3rd, as I am right behind the Jag, and I think that's a Mustang. Yep, I think that is probably a pony car, and whatever the pony car is, I think it's a Mustang. Meanwhile, I'm already up into the lead. And there goes the Jag. And indeed we do have a Mustang in this field, who is being forced out wide by the Camaro, as I am now already up into the lead. And I think for this event I may be OP, because racing soft tires. But again, these AI are managing to keep up with me relatively well. They aren't falling too far back. At least, I don't think they are anyway. Oh, come on, don't spin, don't spin, don't spin. Okay. Okay, it's alright, we're fine, it's cool. I just blocked myself from the Camaro SS. As I can see, the Jag is now moving back up into 2nd position, I think, and at the back I think it's probably the Mustang. But anyways, onto the 3rd and final lap at Midfield Raceway. So, you know about when I said I had a potentially OP car for this event? Well, that's precisely what I think I have in writing, essentially. Because, you know, I have the fucking the fucking soft tyres on, because grip is super OP in this event, and I should have probably also put on the stage 2 turbine, but oh well. So, in spite of me literally having to fuck up on the final lap a red rock on my original attempt, I still won this event. And in the end, it was eventually the Yellow Birds that managed to take second by just under 2 seconds. Then it was the Camaro SS in third, followed by the Mitsubishi 3000 GT in fourth. Then it was the Jag in fourth, and at the back it was the Mustang. As the gap, of course, from first to sixth, nearly 6 seconds. 30 grand for winning. And since this was also the final race, I am going to save the game again. As which, I'm actually not too far away from 50% complete in this game. Or from being 50% complete. Have I got a replay? Hey, I do. Just had to be sure. But anyways. There we go. The Grand Touring Car Trophy is now complete. And in spite of my spin at Red Rock, relatively easy overall. And not just because I chose the grippy boys with pretty much all the power I could get, but whatever. Let's head to our home, as page 3 is now complete. All I need to do now is complete pages 2 and 1. And also, BTW, we win some more JGTC cars from this, as we win a Nissan Daishin Silvia from race number 1, which I think, as far as I know, was also the 4th placed car from the GT300 Championship, so yeah, that's cool. From race 2, we win the Castrol Mugen NSX, which is also very cool. Still, must be said, I actually like those rims. And also, that is one very complex wang. So yeah, very cool. And from race 3, we win a GT500 GTR. And wow, 700 horsepower. Fucking hell. That is a lot, especially for a GT500 car. But anyways, before I suddenly start killing my voice again, obviously, I'm now going to check the progress. So, my win ratio has gone down very slightly because of my fuck up at Red Rock, but anyways, still at 79% average, and we of course are now 46.11% complete with this game. So, that was the Grand Touring Car Trophy. What is coming next? You shall have to wait and find out. But until then, stay tuned for more GT2.